Hi everybody and welcome to this life purpose reading. That's what won on the poll for pick a card, and I'm just looking through a few of my tarot cards right now, just getting some clarifications before even starting on this reading. And what I'm getting for some of you is that you're waiting for clarifications in other areas of your life, but it's actually a bit of distraction around life purpose. And for many of you, someone will come in and become like a teacher, actually. And it doesn't have to be an actual teacher. It can be someone who's teaching you something very valuable that will get you on the right track. This is a Hierophant, but in the Art of Love Tarot, it says teacher. I think it's someone that will help give you clarity. And I'm getting Eight of Trees, which is Eight of Pentacles, with King of Trees, which is King of Pentacles. So that means you can use your skills to be abundant, and that's just something we all have to know. So maybe you can do it as a download, that we know how to use our skills in the highest and best way to bring us joy and prosperity. In the highest and best way, with grace and ease. Alright, so what you have to do now is basically choose 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So you can pause this video now and meditate a little bit on it. Which one is right for you? And we're going to go through them. Okay, I'm going to start here with number 1. So first I'm going to pull some cards for you here. I'm going to move these all over there. So number 1 here. I'm going to pull some cards for you in the Art of Love. What is your life purpose? Okay, so at the bottom you get the shadow and fear. So it could mean that you're going through a little bit of shadow work and fear work at the moment. And we get some clarification here with the moon, because that is part of the shadow work, actually. It is part of it. It's the moon is illusion, but it speaks of creativity as well. Okay, and what you need is clarity. You need a bigger overview of the whole picture, basically. And what's crossing is strength. So when you get it's almost like you've been confused by a situation, and it could have taken a toll on your energy level. So maybe you feel like drained. Maybe you just feel like your energy level is not as strong. You're not as strong physically as what you would like to be. But you get Page of Stars, which is Page of Stars. It's actually Page of Wands, and it says curiosity here. So it means with Page of Wands, it's often a path where you'll get a lot of both attention, recognition, but it's very much based in your personality. And at the bottom, you get Intuition, the High Priestess. So that is underlying everything you do, is that you have a strong sense of intuition. And in the recent past, we get the Sun. So you would have gotten some already, perhaps you've been getting a lot of attention and ideas, and maybe people are looking at you as a leader as well. And you get beginning here, initiation. This is a Fool. So there's probably a whole new beginning for you, and you're getting breakthrough, which is breakthrough here in the wheel. In the Wheel of Fortune, it just means that the wheel is not turning in your favor. So it could be a lot of karmic things happening. You end up being in the right place at the right time. You get the Watcher here, Knight of Swords, in others' position. So maybe you feel like it is a little bit of that judgment as well. And maybe you are a little bit afraid of being judged or failing. And then we get Five of Wands, which means diversity. And that's in sort of surprise position. So maybe There's a lot of strong personalities there at play. And then you get the 7 of stars, which is 7 of wands, which says faith here. But 7 of wands is it is actually a card where you're a little bit higher up than everybody else. You're in an advantage. You get to often teach, speak, and lead. But it's like you're on a higher place. You have the whole overview. So this, I feel, number 1 is definitely leadership. It's going to be part of your life purpose, and for some even being self-employed as well. So let's find out some more. Getting new clothes here. I want to write in the description what deck it is, because I can't remember it at the moment, but it's like it's an angel deck. New clothes, which can mean that it's like the fall, new beginning, you're gonna get a new job, you're gonna have to wear a new outfit, you're gonna have to be in a new role. But it can also mean for some of you, you are creative people and you're gonna be in a creative job, and some of you will create your job from scratch. You will actually be self-employed. And I'm getting Vesta. So this is planet card. So this is an astrology deck that I got. Vesta, the goddess within your sacred spiritual center and quiet dignity. So this is like the high priestess that we got that was underneath everything. It's like that self-belief, a strong connection to self at the moment. So for those of you, not everyone, because this is a general reading as well, but for some of you who if there has been health problems, that is part of it as well, because learning to overcome those gives you extra skills actually. And I think for some of you, you have something in your past, I feel, as well, that will help you understand yourself when it comes to health. But it could translate into a career for some of you as well. You're on the right path. This correlates to the Wheel of Fortune that we got. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. So the intuition you have, you have been getting these messages and you understand what they mean. Study, reading, research, and education help you gain confidence and clarity about your career. So for some of you, it will be more study, but some of you will also be in a teacher role. And this is, of course, the Life Purpose deck by Doreen Virtue. And in the past life deck by Doreen Virtue and Brian Weiss, you're getting health, which is showed up a little bit in the cards with the strength card crossing. This is past life though, so it's like a continuing learning about health and what it means to be healthy. And the main wound, I guess, if you can call it that, or lesson maybe that you're learning that will hugely benefit this, it's this, and this is past life. Unrequited love. So that can mean that maybe there is a wound around love, and maybe you feel that there has been judgment where there should have been love and unconditional love. You felt maybe that love was never going to be unconditional in that way, and maybe that has created a bit of health issues, because once we're not in that flow of feeling loved, it can actually cause blockages within us that can become lack of vitality, basically. Once that is healed, when you're working with self-love here, that will start flowing. You actually will get a much better flow circulation actually. If you have very poor circulation, it can mean that there needs a little bit more self-love, self-appreciation, and that will increase your blood flow. And your spirit will be stronger in your body. In the Elder Futhark rune deck, you get Sovilo, so that correlates to the Sun card. So for a lot of you, you are on the right path. Like we got that here. You already started this work. You're already becoming successful. You worked hard, and you have created yourself. You have recreated. Many of you have recreated yourself. I get Draupnir here in the Norse Gods and Goddesses deck, and Draupnir is it is Odin's magical ring. So it basically means you're going to be very abundant, you're going to be successful. Many of you will be in the business world, some of you will have your own businesses. It will be leadership, because in the animal magic deck I get Eagle, which is, it's a leader. It's having the full overview. It's being at the top. So if you want to work for yourself, this is a really good sign. But even if you work in a business, it's in a leadership level where you'll have the overview on what needs to be done. But I do feel like there's a lot of really creative people in this group as well. And the second card I got in the Futhark deck is Berkana. And Berkana is actually a very good card as well. It correlates actually a little bit to the new clothes. It's like you're changing, you're becoming someone new. You go from seed to plant to full-grown tree. You are actually evolving. You are evolving. You're becoming who you're meant to be. So you are on the right path here in Group 1. What you're doing, it's working. Okay? So I want to also cast some dice for you. And I think this is Queen of Cups actually, with 3 of Wands. I think it definitely speaks of, could be, for some of you, this actually speaks of an enterprise, working in enterprises, but it's very intuitive with you. It's like you just know how to pull it off. You're using your intuition and you know what to do intuitively, know what to follow through with, what ideas are going to work and what isn't going to work. So for some of you, that it's going to be a very creative business, and you're going to do really well because you're so intuitively connected to what you're doing that you just know what to do. You just know it in your soul, like you're really in the right job, like you're just in the right field. And 3 of Wands is really, it is business, it is enterprises, it is. If this was the Rider-Waite deck, you see someone waiting for the ships to come in, it's like, it's enterprise. Okay, I'm casting some runes for you again. So you get Wundra, which connects really well with someone who is very strong-minded. I always find that with Wundra. It's strong-mindedness, never giving up, but it's a lot of joy and happiness, and it's a lot of when you get to work and when you are giving of yourself in that way, you feel happy when you get to provide, when you get to create, you feel really happy. There's happiness inside of you. It's connected, to, we get Queen of Cups, we got Vesta in the astrology deck, we got the High Priestess in the Art of Love deck. You have a lot of happiness and strong emotional connections to yourself, but it's growing stronger. It's actually growing stronger, and you made some decisions that really paid off for you, I feel. You made the right decision. You see that in 3 of Wands. But it's like you don't want to, maybe you're a little bit afraid as well of getting blocked in. Like you don't want to, locked in I meant to say, but because then you get blocked. So maybe it's like a little bit afraid that you're going to outgrow your environment. So maybe that's why you're asking today. Maybe you're afraid you're outgrowing in your environment. You're going to be able to achieve everything you wanted, but then what? What's then? What's next then? But here we actually get Evas, which is a rune for partnership actually. So there's going to be some partnerships coming in, and you will be able to grow in those partnerships. And it can be business partnerships, colleagues, or purely a business partnership. but it can also, of course, mean a romantic partner as well. And here, it kind of fell here on the new clouds, and this one really relates, I think, to the Fool quite well. It's the Urus. So Urus it's basically a symbol of the wild ox, but I see it as a gate. So think of it as being a gate to freedom. And when you're out there, it's like you're a wild animal again. And it's a lot of freedom, but it's a lot of with the Fool is so free, but it's just a window of opportunity, basically, but it's just a lot of freedom for you, where you can you'll grow a lot in that period of time, and it's like a window of opportunity where it often means like you meet the right people at the right time. But you have a lot of freedom, but you have to also be very smart about how this freedom is going to work for you, so you don't get lost in the wilderness. It's still cultivation needed, but it's going to be very easy for you to know where to go. It's going to be very obvious what path will lead you to abundance, basically, because I feel like failing is not an option here in group 1. And this also speaks of a lot of vitality as well, coming back to you, returning to you, to this group. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let's have a look at group 2. Okay, so group 2. Let's find out. I'm gonna pull a few cards for you in the Art of Love Tarot just to start this reading off. Got the Emperor at the bottom here, says the Father. So it could mean healing father-related issues, or any kind of issues or wounding around sort of the male aspects of humanity. But it often speak of authorities, and we often our relationship with our parents, we often project that unwillingly and very subconsciously often onto people in authority in our lives. So let's see what it means here. First I get the Awakening Emergence, which is the Judgment card. So there's been a wake-up call in your life of some kind. And sometimes these wake-up calls are quite painful. And I think that if, in your case, you get 5 of Pentacles, maybe you saw something, 5 of Trees here, there's limitations. And maybe you realize something where you felt you were in a limited situation. And it was there to show you, it was actually to help you have an awakening to a limited situation in your life that perhaps isn't serving you anymore, but also where perhaps also not just in your situation, but maybe overall, maybe a situation that is on a larger scale, and they want you to free yourself from limitation. And because what I get for you is success. So what I do when I feel like I'm very emotionally tied to something, then I free myself from the obligation of this outcome, for example. So you can free yourself from the obligation of having to be limited in a negative way. Some limits are good, but here I feel like it's a limit that's no longer serving you. And in your sort of what to aim for and what you absolutely can have and achieve more of is success. 6 of Stars, which is 6 of Wands. This is success. Okay, so let's see here. It's a success card. What's underlying here is 6 of Angels, which is 6 of Swords, which is transition. So it could mean that you have a strong motivation to go from a limited situation to a much better situation. You are realizing what you have to do. And you have this, you get 7 of Hearts here, which is choices. So maybe you just really want to seek out other options. But as we know with Seven of Hearts, Seven of Cups, there's so much. When once you start searching, things are popping up everywhere, and we get even more maybe confused then. But you get Ace of Cups here in the future. So what I feel like the path you're going on, it's a very spiritual journey. It's love here. So you're going to find out what it is that you absolutely, truly love. And this card here, the Death card, Metamorphosis, the release. This is a very symbolic card, obviously, but it's extra much so when it shows up with the Judgment. It can, for some of you, mean you could have even had a near-death experience. And in your environment and in others' position, I'm getting the path, exploration. So it could mean that you will actually be on some kind of physical journey as well. And I'm getting acceptance and harmony in surprise position. So you'll be able to blend in more elements together in your life. So if you feel like things aren't working right now, you will blend in different elements in different parts of your life, and it will be harmonized. And here I get the Universe for you, but this is actually the World card. And it says expansion. So you'll find your place in the world. For many of you, you will move. And this is often teachers here. So you got 2 5s, 2 6s, and 2 7s. The 5s makes you feel locked in. In the numerology grid, the way the numbers are put in the grid, the 5 is right in the middle and it's surrounded with other numbers, but the other numbers are open to the universe here. So the 5s often feel a bit stuck and a little bit trapped, and they really just want to be free. 7 is all about freedom as well. It's about not being controlled by anyone, not having anyone telling you what you do, what you have to do, and things like that. But it's asking always the big questions as well. And the 6s is all about wanting to be more in control in life. So it's like finding that balance. But where you're going to find it is, I feel, in it's actually somewhere where you'll have a lot of responsibility. I feel like for a lot of people here, they're going to be either in some sort of governance job, and it can be working with natural resources. It can also be teacher as well. Let's have a look at the other cards. But interestingly enough, with the World card, it's always about bringing more order, actually. So it's interesting how you had the Father here, the Emperor, which is the ultimate card for order. Heal all the fears that you have around order. Because bringing more order to a situation can be exactly what is needed. It's not limitations in the sense that you won't be able to, fulfill yourself or anything like that. It's not that. It's more with the wrong type of limitations, you can't be who you're meant to be. But with the right limitations, you actually have structure so that you can absolutely manifest who you're meant to be. And power up, it says here. So maybe what you're giving a bit of time now to rest, because a lot will be expected of you later on. So you're getting weight, which means, again, you're limited now only to give you time to rest, to get yourself back together again in the best possible way. And we get Isa here, stillness, contemplation, which is pretty much exactly what wind represents. And then Manas, humans, hierarchy, awareness. This one here really speaks of the World card. It's like how humans are organized. So you're going to work with in some kind of human structure, but it can be how we organize. So it can be governance, like politics. It can be governing, resources, how that's how best to do that. It can also mean in some kind of structure where you get to guide, like a teacher role. Salamander. Salamander is your spirit returning to you again to give you your energy back. So this is about rejuvenation. So if you have felt like everything has slowed down to the point where you're kind of feeling that it's too limited, you're too restricted right now, take this time to get back in touch with your spirit. Ask your spirit to come back into your body again in the highest and best way with grace and ease, because spiritual energy, once that is strong in your body, it can pretty much take care of any health-related issue, and you just feel whole and complete. So for those of you who kind of have had a lot of stress, maybe they have neglected themselves, maybe you even have pushed your spirit out of your body in some ways. Now it's time to bring yourself back in again. Let's look at the past life issue. So there's some past life issues connected here to what you're going through now. Food and hunger. Okay? Food and hunger. If you experience a lot of food and hunger in a past life, then perhaps you are very worried and scared if it created a bit of a fear to having to suffer in that way. So have a look at your fears around being going without and lacking. And farming. This has to do with the resources, being able to provide for yourself. Some of you could have a strong need to live off the land and to be able to provide for yourself with all the resources that you need. So being a farmer, living on a farm, and food and hunger, these two can be different lifetimes, but they could be connected. It is to be self-sufficient. That's your path in this lifetime as well, to learn to be completely self-sufficient. And I'm getting author in the life purpose deck. You have a book inside of you that wishes to be expressed, and make the time to write it. And I also get books. You connect to life purpose through your involvement with books. They're giving you this time to write a book, and also to read books that you really need for your soul to grow. The World card is connected to your soul. So everything that comes to you now is actually there to make your soul grow and to connect you to your soul as well. So many people in group 2 will be very inspired by books and even writing a book as well. We got Aries here. This is very connected to the Salamander card we got. The energy around you is dynamic and spontaneous. Crusading impulsive action is likely. That's that wanting to go out in the world. Okay, so you're being pulled in a little bit different directions here. You're being pulled out, and at the same time you're being held back. But think of it like everything you want to do now, they're basically building up a passion inside of you, so that when the time is right for you to move, you'll be able to move forward without any fear of, basically without any fear, because you're going to know exactly what it is that you want. I'm going to pull some dice for you as well. So you get Justice, the Justice card. So that's for those of you who are who will end up working in government. Some of you will work in justice. And it's about balance, basically. It's about creating more balance in the world. You will be where you're meant to be to create balance, to get the world back in shape again. And here you get 10 of Cups, actually. So that is creating like the perfect world, a perfect planet, working really hard to get the world, to create a world that is where you can have a lot of happiness, where people have freedoms, where people are inspired. Many people here in Group 2 will help inspire people, and some will work very hard in very important positions to make it possible for people to have all the good things that life has to offer. So let's have a look in the runes as well. So we got here Thurisaz. So Thurisaz is a rune that speaks of protection. So I think that this really connects well with the Justice card, which is it's very hard to have a good life if there are no boundaries in place, when there is no safety or security, and there is no, you can imagine if you didn't have a house, for example, if you didn't have any walls to leave behind, how vulnerable would you feel without not being able to close the front door? Let's say you had to sleep with the door open every night. How would you feel? This is a symbol of those boundaries we put in place for our safety. And many of our boundaries are being torn down, and many people feel very vulnerable and scared all the time. So I feel like in Group 2, your life purpose is to help create a safety for people, to help create boundaries so that people can create a good life for themselves that they're unable to have if these boundaries aren't in place. And I also feel like for some of you it will be teaching, just simply teaching life skills that will give people these boundaries, and that can come through writing, but also speaking as well, I feel. But sometimes it's as simple as working in justice, basically, as well. So, interesting, very interesting group. Let's start Group 3. Okay guys, this is Group 3. Let's start off with the Art of Love tarot cards. Interestingly enough, I'm getting the Emperor and the Father here at the bottom again for Group 3. So it could mean that your life purpose and reaching your fullest potential, again, there is some connection here to authority, working in an authority, with authorities, and things like that. So let's find out more. Get 9 of Angels, which means guardian. And it's 9 of Swords, basically. So it could be that you've had a lot on your mind. And Knight of Hearts could be that it's a lot of relationship stuff that's been worrying you, and maybe it has maybe it is taking away a little bit of your peace of mind. And I get 3 of Angels, which is 3 of Swords, in what the best thing you can do right now, and it means clarifications. You need to think clearly. You need to see this situation clearly. You're a very innocent person. At the heart of all of this, at the bottom of it, you see this person here, Page of Hearts, says innocence. You're a very innocent person. And in the recent past, you're getting the teacher. And the teacher shows up to help you, actually, to help you have clarity. And 10 of Hearts is showing up in the future, which is culmination. And so it basically means all that you are will come into play. And you get Ace of Wands in you now, which means action. It's time for you to create. It's time for you to begin your journey. It's time for you to start creating. In Others position, we get the Divine Order, Equilibrium, which is the Justice card. basically can mean that you just feel like maybe the stakes are very high, maybe you feel like everything has to be perfect all the time. It can speak of a person or situation where you have to, maybe you feel like you have to tiptoe too much around things. Maybe it's a lot of rules in place. King of Angels, peaceful warrior, is showing up in surprise position here. It can be a person you're going to meet that will help show you the way and path forward. So for those of you who have had a lot of, like if you are single, for example, and you are, and maybe you have wanting to manifest relationship, this can be a relationship coming through here for you. And King of Angels, that can be actually lawyer, police, judge, and connects here also with the Justice card. So it's King of Swords basically. Knight of Stars, adventurer, Knight of Wands. So you are an adventurer, very adventurous person. A Knight of Wands can also be someone who's very physically active, someone who works in a physical field, who is even a sports person or an athlete. Competition is important to this person. So it could be that you're in a very competitive environment. Friendly skies. So I'll take this that again the outdoors are going to be quite important, but also perhaps that for some of you, you are very interested in astrology as well, or astronomy, and that you look up on the sky and you want to learn more. You're the journey overseas, so this is definitely the adventurous part of you. Many of you will travel in this group, and traveling is part of your life purpose because it brings you what you need to have the inspiration. But it could also be very part of your life purpose. To be able to fulfill your life purpose, you have to travel. Lagus. Lagus is creativity, imaginations, and emotions. It basically just means water, going with the flow. And again, it connects here with journey overseas. Ingus, fertility, agriculture, and animals. Ingus is perhaps the best rune to get. It speaks of a very favorable outcome. And I think it correlates well with friendly skies. It means that now is a good time for you. Now is a very good time for you to move forward. The environment is right. And there will be a lot of people that will come in that will be very helpful to your cause. And in the animal magic deck, you're getting Falcon. And Falcon is someone who has a very, who's very resourceful, who's able to, who's able to see different elements and how they can work in a situation. So it's like you're able to seek out intuitively where to go for the desired outcome. So you'll be guided very much psychically where you have to be and who you need to talk to. You'll just know instinctively, this is the person I need to talk to find out more. This is a place to be. This is a card that speaks of someone who has very strong intuitive abilities. Okay, now we're getting into the past life here. And I get persecution and inquisition. This can have caused a little bit of problem with authorities in this lifetime as well. And maybe it is a bit of that fear of, maybe it's a bit of fear around authorities actually. Maybe you have a fear of being judged or getting in trouble and being in trouble by the law, for example. You also get trees, which speak of enlightenment. Trees are the most enlightened beings that exist on our planet. Okay, so this also connects to your innocence. So even if you've been through this, you still have a direct connection to Creator and to pure light energy. So even though you went through injustice, it couldn't take away your innocence. That is a remarkable thing, and they want you to know that you have this innocence and beauty and true the spiritual love, basically, within you that nothing could take away. Not this, not any of the hardship. You get confused by it sometimes, but ultimately light always finds you, and you find it. You always find clarity, and the truth will always come out. Okay, so here we come to the life purpose card. Get children. Your life purpose involves helping, teaching, and healing children, and it can be the children of the world, and it doesn't have to be just children. It can also be a symbol of people who are very innocent and pure, like you, and that you help people who are often also then in a very vulnerable situation. You also get support. Your life purpose fully supports you, and that means that even if you do travel and go to new places, you'll be able to fulfill your life purpose because you'll be able to help people. I feel like you'll travel to places where you get to really help people. Oh, you end. You get Uranus. And that is, of course, a planet for sudden change, enlightenment, and awakening. So it's like have a major change in your life, seemingly out of the blue. Let's cast the dices. You get the Fool, which really connects to Uranus. I don't even know how to say it. With Leo, with with the Lion, with strength, which means you'll have pure intuition where you need to go and be. You'll be able to have full transformation of your life. You can basically, you just say, I need to be in this place right now. My life purpose is right here. You'll be able to make it happen. You'll be able to find exactly the right people and places where you need to go. And it is to help people, to support people that need you. Strength is a very powerful card. It means that you're strong for others that are unable to be. So the Fool then can also speak of children, but this is people that you will help and you will support in some way. So okay, now Manas, again, it speaks of humans and how we organize ourselves in society. So it actually speaks of hierarchy. You got Gebo, which is a gift, but it's also human connections as well, but it often speaks of relationships. Isa here speak of the ice, it's like either you have to hibernate or you have to relocate. So it could be that if you are also in a partnership with somebody, you might have, maybe you're in a routine and this routine needs to change. So many of you will relocate with someone as well, I feel. This new place you're going to, I feel like it's going to be very inspirational to you. If you choose to stay and you're doing hibernation instead, and then this time will then be used, I feel, in a creative way as well. But I feel like it's something sudden will happen that will make you just wanna take your life in a new direction, and it's I feel for many of you in a new place. It's like you're doing a U-turn. or there's a change here in direction of in some way, and you'll be in the right place to give your support to others. And if you feel like you have already done this in the past, that this is me describing something that you've already been through, then this is confirmation that this happened to get you to where you needed to be able to give you support to people in the best possible way that you could. Okay, guys, it's number 4. So I get Queen of Hearts at the bottom, which is a 6th sense. It's a psychic card. Queen of Cups, and your intuition is guiding this situation. So I get 6 of Trees, which is 6 of Pentacles, which means receiving. And Page of Wands or Page of Stars is kind of blocking the situation. So it could be someone maybe is irritating you, like a personality in your life, or that someone in your life with a personality that's really kind of triggering to you in some way. And it could just be someone who constantly craves your attention. But it says here in the energy to step into is the Ace of Angels, which is Ace of Swords, which is wisdom energy, and to always speak the truth. That is the key to this situation. You get Queen of Swords is underlying, so that is, the person, the subconscious influences that is creating this situation, and it is actually you speaking the truth, and maybe also being very strong in your beliefs. It says here visionary. Get Retreat here, and it's actually a picture of Uluru, and it says the retreat contemplation. So to create a space in your life that is like a place just for you to get in touch with yourself again, because they're saying you need to have clarity. 8 of Angels, which is 8 of Swords, means confusion. That is the energy that is coming in, and it could be that it's difficult to communicate with somebody. And it's like maybe you need to find a new way of communicating with this person. 2 of Stars, boldness. 2 of Stars is 2 of Wands. So it means that you're a very intellectual person, actually, you're a very intelligent person. And you operate well on the intellectual level. 2 of Hearts, union. 2 of Cups. Here it's in other position, so that's a spouse, most likely a partner. Then you get Page of Angels, Page of Swords coming in the surprise position, and it says mysticism. So maybe it's a lot of mystery around a situation and a person as well. 3 of Stars, which is 3 of Wands, is vision. So for this group, I feel like there's going to be a lot of visionaries, actually. It's part of the life purpose here. Very intellectual group. Let's have a look in the cards, the other cards as well. Wicked wonders, it says here. So that means that if a situation has been confusing or hasn't been optimum, and it's more what we saw in 8 of Swords, and that is actually something wonderful in that situation that maybe you won't see straight away, but you learn it. It's actually going to be something really positive coming out of that. And it could be an environment that you maybe not fully understand straight away, but that's going to be very important to you, because Sleipnir here, increase in personal status, it speaks of a situation that can really benefit you. Even though you might be in a situation or even a place that you don't fully understand. There is us, defense, boundaries, and resistance. So it has to do with those boundaries. We spoke about there is us earlier. It's about creating a safe space, a place where everybody knows this is my boundary. So it's more of a physical boundary actually. It's making sure that you're physically safe, that you're safe on the physical, and that you honor your physical safety. So that is part of it actually. Eva's partner, cooperation, loyalty. For many of you, you might have a very protective partner, or you have a partner and you feel like you really need to protect the relationship as well. Some of you could have a partner that is very different from you and from a different place as well. And that's why you're getting this Sleipnir card. The Sleipnir, Odin's horse, could travel through all the planes, through all the dimensions. And it can mean that there's that you're going to see or experience something that is different, very different from what you normally do, basically. And I ended up with two animal magic deck. I was only meant to have one, and it is whale. Whale speaks of communication. Actually, you're going to learn a new way of communication. You also see DNA here. So for some of you, this is connected very much to your past life and also to your ancestral history. It's been interesting to see what shows up here. But I feel like for many of you, this has to do with learning a new way of communicating. You get Phoenix here, which is rebirth. And here we get ships. This is past life. So maybe what you're experiencing now is past life memories. And this is why a situation suddenly, maybe you were traveling for the age you are now in a past life. While you were the same age, you perhaps were traveling, you were going somewhere new. Maybe you're having all these feelings now, and it's actually past life memories. And you're having wisdom from other places and other cultures and other religions and belief systems that maybe you don't even know where it comes from, but it's there. But it feels foreign, but you just have it. It's still part of you. So in the life purpose card, you're getting career change. That can be the part of the Eight of Swords. You're embarking upon a career that brings you joy and abundance. So this also has a little bit to do with the Sleipnir card. It's like a new environment, something completely new. And you're going to have to learn to express yourself in a new way. And I get the card here for yoga. Your life is enhanced by yoga, stretching and exercising, and I will include dancing here as well. So maybe many in this group are going to work in fitness, yoga, dance. Even I feel some of you will be entertainers as well. Sagittarius. This energy imbues power, superior confidence and enthusiasm with faith in good fortune and authority. And Sagittarius is also connected to higher education and long-distance foreign travel and connecting with a culture and wisdom from another land. So this, I feel, is past life knowledge that you are gaining now. So this wisdom and knowledge from a very different culture or from a completely different time and history, is you bringing this back, this wisdom. And you're incorporating it in your life purpose now. So, here we get Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, and King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles means abundance. And because it's close to Two of Cups, it can be a very abundant relationship you're going to be in. And it's a very healing relationship. So for many of you, you will be in a relationship. If you're already in a relationship, they're just basically saying this is a very healing relationship. Now, if for those of you who are in a relationship that maybe you feel it's not very healing, or think of a way you can work on communication. Because something is healing in this relationship. with Ace of Cups. So it brings something up for healing purposes. And it is inspiring. That brings some kind of inspiration to you, where you get to express yourself in a completely new way. Let's have a look at my runes. It's very different casting the runes than laying them out using cards. Okay, so get manas, which again, it's about humans. It's our hierarchy, how we organize ourselves. But then I get Urus, which is a wild energy. It's a freedom rune. So it's going to be like maybe you feel a little bit stuck between the structure of living in a very organized society with the freedom, Sleipnir, traveling anywhere he likes. The full freedom of being able to go wherever you like. See that also here in Sagittarius. There needs to be a lot of freedom created here. That you're part of society, but you're also free to go where you like to go. Because many of you will have a strong need to have this freedom. And many of you will use perhaps your physical strength, because there's a lot of physical strength in here. It's a wild ox, it's very strong. To be able to harness this energy of feeling that you are free. I also feel like you will connect a lot with nature here. So there's a balance here between nature and living, a very civilized life. It's about harmonizing those two aspects of your personality, actually. And I also feel like you will also have a window of opportunities to see something completely new and experience something completely new that will really inspire you to live a completely new life. And there's a lot of creative expression as a result of that. But I feel like there's a lot of people here that are in relationships, that are connecting deeper with their personal relationships. Okay, number 5. Got 6 cents here as well. So many here are they have a deep sense of who they are. And we get 4 of Pentacles, growth. 4 of Pentacles is also someone who doesn't like to let go of his or her position. So you're probably also very strong in your beliefs. And what is blocking here is the 9 of Angels, which is 9 of Swords. This is Guardian, which means that maybe you feel a little bit abandoned. Maybe you feel like you would like there to be a little bit more support in your life. Maybe you feel like you're always in a supporting role rather than anyone really supporting you back. Or maybe you feel like you just don't want to give what people are expecting of you to give because you think it's unreasonable. So maybe you have some energies in your life that you feel like it's taking too much from you. And they say Page of Trees, Page of Pentacles, Dreamer. They say look at the details of your life and focus on, like right at the beginning I feel here of something that you really want to accomplish. And to focus on that path without being so distracted. Knight of Angels, Knight of Swords, Watcher. That's the underlying energy. That's you on a very subconscious level, like you're observing and you observe everything, but maybe you observe so much that it becomes also very distracting to you. You get 5 of Stars, which is 5 of Wands, diversity in recent past. So maybe also there is that maybe you feel like there's a lot of competition in your life at the moment. And then you get the Star here, which speaks of hope, but it's also It's a very optimistic card. Like you feel like the worst is behind you. Like if you've been through some kind of struggle, or if you feel like there's been a lot of power struggles perhaps, then the Star is like when you really feel like you can turn away from all of that. Page of Stars, Page of Wands, here it's curiosity. And the curiosity is hard then to look away. It's like it's very connected to this card here. These two are very connected. It's like you observe and notice everything. Eight of Angels, wisdom. So this could be a partner or an environment that you're in. This Eight of Swords. So you like to deal with people that are very straightforward and honest. Queen of Angels. Queen of Swords. That's a visionary. This is in a surprise position. Maybe you feel like you need to assert yourself more than you realized, and maybe you also will meet someone who you feel like you can really connect to and talk to, and you get the retreat, contemplation. This is a holy mountain in Australia. It's Uluru. So it's actually about creating sacred space in your life. It has to do with boundaries and also to live your life so truthfully that it's not what you're saying, it's actually what you're doing that becomes the message. This is a Hermit card. It's like it's not what you're saying, it's what you're doing. So people are seeing what you're doing. That's where they get inspiration from. Then they realize, I too can, because this person is doing this. And the Hermit card, of course, is someone who looks within, who's a teacher, who guides, but always follows through with their actions. Let's have a look. Hot lips. It can mean that you get a lot of attention for the way you look, that you're a very attractive person. And maybe some of you in this group also will be models as well. Ulur, focus. Focus on what you want. This is Page of Pentacles, Focus on what you actually want. Don't be so distracted. You observe everything. You notice everything. But focus, because you're being very distracted at the moment. And Hagelas. Hagelas shows up when there is a bit of hardship, actually. Hail, hardship, obstacles. And when that shows up in your life purpose, that can mean that you are meant to overcome this. You are meant to learn from it in some way. Tivas, justice, honor, sacrifice. Tivas, this is a god Tyr who sacrificed an arm so that everyone else could live. So maybe you feel like you have had to give up a lot in your life. Maybe you feel like you've had to sacrifice a lot in your life. And we get snake here in the animal magic. So that means that it's time now to shed your skin. There is time to have a renewal. This snake is also often shows up when someone is an energy healer, actually. And they're sensing everything. They feel and sense everything around them. And it connects well with the Knight of Swords, the observer. Okay, in the past life, we're getting authority figures. Authority figures have been coming up a lot in these readings. You were dealing with a lot of authorities in a past life. And that is affecting you now. Maybe you've dealt with authorities in this life as well. And maybe that's why you are seeking more of a solitude life. But you're also getting love life here in a past life. So this was a very karmic past life. And I feel like this will be an instant recognition of soulmate here. And in this life, you get infinite abundance. You're fully supported as you devote yourself to your divine purpose. And you get flowers here. Working with flowers opens your heart and brings blessings to others through your life purpose. So many of you will work with flowers and maybe plants, maybe horticulture, maybe you will work in nature. And you're getting Saturn here as the planetary card. You can see that man is he's actually building a wall as part of the part of you that accepts challenge to gain wisdom. So it's Hagelas basically. It's the hardship you went through was there to give you strength so that you would be a very wise person. The Hermit card, remember? It made you who you are, and it also made you a very sensitive person so that you could work and be happy where you're at without wanting other things. So I think everything you went through when it came to the hardship was there to take away the desire to have those things, because you became very grateful for what you have. And then you can appreciate it fully without thinking, oh, the grass is greener on the other side, because you know you have the wisdom and you also have the maturity to know that's just not true. Okay, so now we get Four of Pentacles again. Which means you're not willing to give up your position. You're not willing to, this falls straight on the Saturn as well. It's like, you're not going to give up your position. You know what you believe is true, and you know why you believe it. What you have experienced. And you also get two aces here, and aces show up and there's actually extra support in our lives. So even if you felt maybe that there wasn't support, you're saying there has been, but you just maybe haven't seen it, or maybe it came from a very surprising place, or maybe you didn't need the support. You thought you needed it, but maybe you didn't actually need it, and maybe once you got through it yourself, you realized you actually didn't need the support. You could do it yourself, and it gave you again the wisdom that you need to fully appreciate your abundance, because there's a lot of energy here. But you're not focusing so much on it. You learned, and all these lessons were actually there to teach you not to focus so much on it. You're aware it's there, but you don't need to fully go there. Like, you know what I mean? You can just observe and let go. So for this group, I feel like you're going to create your own heaven on earth. This can also mean painting and drawing flowers. It can also mean creating with flowers and growing your own flowers and working with plants. Think of how, if you're not currently working with flowers, bring in flowers in your life and see how it will advance your life. It could mean also flower essence as well, and scents and essential oils and things like that. It's plant medicine as well. So I drew a card for everybody, for everyone to reflect on. I got the star, which is hope, but it's so much more than hope. Star means that the worst is behind you, and now you'll have the time to heal, lick your wounds, but don't stay too much in the past. Instead, start moving forward. And also to what I really felt like even before I started this reading was for everyone to start recognizing their own beauty and appreciating themselves and believing in themselves, and to think of yourself as someone who's very beautiful and loving and kind, and that you open up your heart to love yourself. Now, if you have problems with someone in your life and you don't know how exactly to deal with them, and maybe they've just really frustrated you, ask your heart to send them love and see them in a loving way. And you might actually find out that when you see them in that, you see the truth about the person. So if they're worse than what you thought, you'll actually see that even though you're going in a loving way. But then at least you know, and you know that you are right to say no. But when you are going through a lot of the anger, then we feel like, oh, I shouldn't be so angry. I should be more kinder, more forgiving. And then we often let our guard down, and that's when we can actually get hurt again. So if you go through a loving energy and see the person, if you really need to, if it's worse than what you thought, you see it straight away, but you see it through a loving light. And then you're able to say no without any guilt. And also to situations as well. If there's a situation that hasn't been great, then you can do that technique as well, and you see the situation exactly as it is. And you can start asking for doors to open in ways that will bring you joy. So it's like it's happiness. It goes through where you feel there's a lot of joy and happiness, rather than that there's a lot of anxiety attached to it. So it's the right people to be involved in your life purpose, because when we live our life purpose, we actually have a lot of soul family connected. That's how we know as well. It's like these people are very meaningful people in my life. These are people I'm never going to forget. Then you know this is deeper than just, having a job, for example, or it's deeper than just going to work and, not feeling very fulfilled. Like it's the people that gives everything more and deeper meaning. And sometimes we are in transition, so we might not feel that connected to it, but it actually is a stepping stone to where we need to go as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what other pick a card readings you would like. Bye!